Hello fellow wizards and witches, it is I, Era. We're going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy and try to answer the simple question, was it any good? After a long but relatively entertaining intro, we finally get to Hogwarts and get to choose which house we want to be a part of. The people here love you so much that they even cheer if you pick Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff has hobbit doors, and I'm so here for it. Now you spam Revelio for an hour around the castle and find different puzzles and gear all over the place. It's all about the looks. Sam Muggles be looking fly for his first day at school. Hogwarts is really great. They did an amazing job making it feel alive, just like in the movies. No matter where you go, there is something like a painting, a ghost, or some armor that either talks or moves around. This is a school, of course, so it's time for class. Most of them are cinematics followed by an exercise that lets you practice what it is you just learned. For some reason, you learn spells by doing some short minigame that just feels like it's there for something to be there. Like, at least shape the thing like the spell or something. I really don't know where they were trying to go with this.
That is not bad.
You thought that was not bad? Well, watch this.
2 perfect rounds. You're a natural.
After learning Accio and owning some noobs, it's time to learn Levioso. I'm just now realizing how some spells are named. Wow. Wow. This teacher is so sassy. Just listen to this.
I get new students every year, but I only have one Hebridean black skull.
With Levioso in our hands, we duel some nerd and get some basic practice for how the combat system works.
Let's just say
Not bad for a beginner. You give as good as you get.
To this day, I still have no idea what he meant with that.
get me in the ring.
We then tweak our voice to a Giga Chad and do some more dueling because the game forces us to do so. This here is the reason why I don't play FPS games. Details such as these trumpet flowers go such a long way for entertainment. No, I'm not abandoning you, Sebastian! Progressing the main story makes us leave the castle ground and go to Hogsmeade.
How odd. Once more, come on, really swish it. Oh dear. How intriguing.
Ah, just the perfect size. Not too big, not too small. In all seriousness, though, I felt as if it would be cooler if it just gave us a wand rather than us being able to design one ourselves. Maybe make it depend on which house we chose or something along those lines. Okay, we got all our stuff. Now back to Sebastian. Oh wait, there's something here. Here focuses mainly on offense and defense, making it straightforward when it comes to upgrades.
You said you could get to the child when they came to Hogsmeade. That all you needed was a distraction.
These two are the main bad guys when it comes to the story. Sometimes I felt really in tune with it, and other times I felt like something was missing. I will not be going into too much detail about the main story in particular here to make it as spoiler-free as possible.
All you need to know is that if you cannot get to the child, then you have no value to me.
When main quests are completed, we're usually thrown back to our common room at Hogwarts. Seriously though, look at how cozy this place is. Could totally just roll a fat one and, hung out here for a cup of coffee. This game loves its treasure hunts, puzzles, secret doors, and various minigames. Most of the stuff you encounter while exploring has rewards that tie into customizing your attire, while some of them actually give you some sort of bonuses. For example, completing enough Merlin trials increases your bag space. Again, I was not too keen on this, especially due to the fact that the bag is full all of the time. Wouldn't wizards just have magical pockets or something? Some things are locked into your talents when it comes to combat. I completely disagree with putting the spell knowledge talent here. That gives us more spell slots. I mean, why lock the fun? The combat itself is in my opinion the best part of the game, especially when you've locked all of the spells. Using everything in our arsenal makes it such a fun experience with what feels like nearly endless variations. And don't miss out on the curses, guys. Just look at how awesome this is. Turning someone into an explosive barrel and throwing it on another baddie feels amazing. The entire spell kit has weight to it, which brings more to the general flow and feel. And on top of everything, we have some iframes while rolling, and of course using our shield to be able to reflect things. However, some of the things can't be shielded, and that's when you're going to be having to roll. And if you do get hit, you can always use a Wiggenweld potion, which is a bit too overpowered in my opinion, since you can actually use it while you're on the ground. But besides that, I think everything is truly amazing. And if you want a quick break from the combat, why not pull out the magical sack and capture some cool beasts while you're exploring. You can also cosplay Assassin's Creed and assassinate bad guys. Your character even whispers out the spells while sneaking. There is a whole lot to do in the world. Flying around and just enjoying the sights of Hogwarts, distant ruined castles, or the Forbidden Forest is an experience unlike any other. It's something special about flying on the broom and taking in the attention to detail that they've really put out in this world. And if you would get tired of the broom, there's always Eyewing. He's one of the 2 riding mounts we can acquire on our journey. Now that we've mentioned some positives, let's list some negatives. As I said before, the inventory is small and you need to sell all the time. And for some reason I always let go of the button just before I've sold something, which can get really annoying. While exploring, you will encounter one too many caves. Your character will say that it might be dangerous, but really it's just a long run for a useless piece of gear. While the combat is one of my favorite things, so is the Room of Requirement. We can capture magical beasts and give them a safe home, brew potions, nurture plants, and a bunch more. Important to note is that this is how it can end up looking when you've come quite far into the game. One more thing that really gets my goat is the unidentified system, which basically forces us to go to the Room of Requirement and identify gear to be able to use it. Feels out of place and unnecessary. All the beasts we capture go into some parallel universe worlds, which are all stunning. We can feed, pet, and even breed pets here. By doing so, we get materials that we can use to add or change bonuses on our gear. Just look at this Niffler. He's enjoying the good life. There's even toys that you can throw out and watch the cuties play together. Even the little one wants to join in. Look at that. Back to the actual room, we can change the ambience to whatever we'd like. Not really, we got 3 options. This spell is supposed to open up locks, but only God knows why we have to lockpick them. To make things even worse, there's a bunch of these all over the place, and it ends up being one of the most tedious things in the game. While exploring, one can sometimes happen upon a little secret. Here I activated a hidden chamber that led me to 2 infamous enemies. To be completely honest, every single one of these infamous ones that I've slain have been pushovers. Kinda wish they were a little bit tougher and had other movesets than regular enemies, but what can you do? Speaking of enemies, there are a couple of beasts that you might run into. These dogbogs has a lot of health and can hit pretty damn hard. The dueling feats text that appear on the screen can sometimes be very useful, providing you with tips and tricks to be able to deal with some of the tougher enemies. Here's a cave I discovered with the help of a map I found in a bandit camp. Generally speaking, every time you enter a new area, you're going to be using a Revelio first to see hidden stuff. Things with a blue glow can usually be interacted with, and it is very likely there's going to be some sort of puzzle solving to do. On this map, there's some hints as to where this treasure is, and it obviously has to do with this statue. One thing that bothered me a bit here was that the statue itself is not facing straight ahead, but has a slight tilt. So it was not super clear as to how to read this clue besides the pattern of lit fires. Out in the world, there are a couple of smaller villages that usually contain a side quest or 2, a merchant as well as some goodies to loot, and horrible locks to pick. Of course, nothing the smaller villages has to offer can compare to the warmth of Hogsmeade. The town feels more alive than the rest, and it doesn't hurt that it has its own soundtrack that nests itself in your brain like an old pop song. One of the cooler side quests led to me owning my own shop and a lovely house elf. This all sounds interesting, but the only advantage of this is that I can sell my gear for a 10% bonus if I do it in my own shop. Most of the dialogue in the game will lead to you having two choices for an answer. One usually being over the top happy-dappy and the other being a complete asshat. I don't really see the need of any of this since the game doesn't have a morale system. No matter how kind or rude you are, things will play out the same way, just that you get new dialogue. And sometimes the answers can be pretty funny if you go for the rude route.
What a snide little rat! No sense of honor! You're worse than the Ashwinders. Fine. I can give you a bit more, but our business is finished.
Out of all the various interactions you get from so many things, I really would have wanted to see some sort of reactions from people around you if you start to throw out your 14-inch whippy stick and start casting spells. God. So, what's the verdict? Well, if you're a fan of RPGs like me and go into this game expecting Quidditch, God of War, or Elden Ring, you're likely to be disappointed. If you do, however, go into this game expecting to walk around Hogwarts just like in the books or movies, solve puzzles, enjoy cozy towns, fly around on a broomstick, and of course use a bunch of cool spells, then you will most definitely enjoy it. I played for around 30 hours and I did have a good time after all. I ended up skipping some dialogue, especially in side quests, because I thought it got a bit too much at some point. I rate it 7 out of 10 cool wizardy pew pew. Professor Fig is the G. For shits and giggles, I leveled up Alhomora to level 3 and opened up a chest that I saw at the start of my journey that I could not open. It took way longer than I'd like to admit to level this up, so it better be worth it. And it totally was not, since the reward I got was a silly hat that I am now going to wear in shame. Maybe I'll flush it down the toilet. I don't even know. I had a lot of fun making this video and would like to hear what you thought of it in the comments. Please do subscribe so I can continue doing this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.